There are 5 reasons why your next wood fence should absolutely be built with cedar materials rather than treated pine. If you stick around to the end, I've actually got a bonus 6th reason just for you. But before we get into that, if you like the video, go ahead and give it a like. If you find it helpful, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so YouTube lets you know when we have new content available. All right, now let's dig into it. This is Joe Everest, the fence expert. My family's been perfecting their way of building fence for over 60 years, 3 generations. While there's more than one way to build a fence, I'm here to share with you our way. The first reason you build your fence with cedar instead of treated pine is availability. Now, I did an in-depth look on currently why we're in a treated pine shortage. You can find that here. But suffice to say, whether we're talking about a pandemic or simply hurricane season, cedar is more readily available throughout the year than treated pine, meaning it'll be accessible whenever in the year you're ready to build your next fence. The second reason is going to be longevity. A cedar board has naturally occurring oils in it which are going to naturally repel rotten insects. It's these oils that the treatment in treated yellow pine tries to emulate. But as we all know, Mother Nature always does it better than the man-made imitations. So cedar will naturally last longer than its treated pine competitor. And related to number 2, number 3 is that cedar's a natural product, meaning that when you buy the product, you know exactly what's in that board. It's natural cedar, containing natural cedar oils. With treated pine, they'll give it different terms. ACQ, MCQ, older products had CCA in them, all different abbreviations for the specific type of treatment that's in every board. But unless you're a scientist, you're gonna have a really hard time knowing exactly what's in that board that you're gonna put around your yard and put in contact with your kids, your pets, your neighbor's kids, your neighbor's pets. With a cedar product, you absolutely know what that board contains and that it's safe no matter who's in contact with it. The 4th reason to build your next fence out of cedar rather than treated pine is going to be appearance. You know, a lot of people like the individual appearance of the cedar boards. No 2 boards ever look quite alike. The treated pine boards, on the other hand, are a processed board. Every board's going to look either exactly the same or very similar to the board before or the board after it. Cedar has a great look. No 2 boards are ever alike. It looks rustic because it's typically rough sawn, and it ages to silver rather than a dark gray color. The appearance looks great on cedar. The treated pine appearance could look a little bland. The 5th reason is also appearance, in that it was ready to accept stain on day 1. If you have plans on staining and sealing your fence and you go with a treated pine product, you're gonna have to wait for that treated pine to cure out, typically at least a month. Whereas cedar is ready on day 1. And actually, when we're installing cedar materials, we have the option of pre-staining those cedar materials so that the homeowner never has to worry about staining the fence, bringing out the equipment, masking the house, etc. With a cedar product, it's ready to stain immediately because it's a natural product. If you're thinking about staining and sealing your fence, we actually have an upcoming video on choosing a staining and sealing product for your next fence. Keep an eye out for that upcoming video. The 6th reason, the bonus reason, is one of my favorite reasons, and it is that cedar is less likely to warp, twist, or cup than treated pine is. And that's because of the reason of warping, twisting, and cupping is that the boards dry unevenly. One side dries before the other side does, and then it pulls to that side, to the dry side. So you see tops of pickets pull to the dry side, or you see the whole board cup to the dry side. Since cedar's a natural product, since it's more like a sponge, it dries evenly. The moisture can evaporate from both sides at the same time. If one side is drying quicker than the other, it can pull the moisture from the wet side. Now, I'm not saying that you will never see a warped, twisted, or cupped cedar picket. It can happen, but it is significantly less likely to happen than its treated pine competitor. You know, as a fence guy, I love working with cedar. It's a great product for all the reasons we just talked about. And in fact, the fence going up at my house is going to use cedar materials installed on steel posts. Now, we're going to be talking about why I chose steel posts in a later video, but suffice to say, this fence guy loves working with cedar. When you're deciding on materials for your next fence, please do yourself a favor, do your fence a favor, and choose cedar materials. For today, I'm Joe Everest. the fence expert. We'll see you next week.